beautiful. But nobody really played it, so I kind of fell out because I was like playing by myself.
The only one.
Yeah. And now
just sit in front of a mirror.
It's your turn, Ryan. Thanks, Ryan. I'm gonna get you, Ryan. Suck all your blood.
Surprise, surprise. I won.
I won, Ryan. Good game, Ryan. We should do this again. And that's when I had to go to a therapist.
Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required.
We're the podcast that recaps all the episodes of The Big Bang Theory. No spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot.
Make yourself a grasshopper.
And enjoy the ride. Hello there, Ryan.
Hello, Rob.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Fantastic, because we just watched Season 3, Episode 5, The Creepy Candy Coating Corollary.
Oh, yeah.
For any new listeners out there, I'm Rob. This is my co-host, Ryan. We are Theoretical Nonsense, the podcast that recaps, reviews, and deep dives facts from the Big Bang Theory, which we call IQ points. As a reminder to everyone, I've seen the series multiple times, but this is Ryan's first time watching, so we do our best to do no spoilers. And Ryan has been told that he's been very similar to Sheldon, so we keep a point tally of how close Ryan is to Sheldon.
So for all the points that I'm not like Sheldon, and I'm still planning on dividing this up by season so that we can have numbers, but the total right now are 73 not like Sheldon and 76 points being like Sheldon, where I have identified being like Sheldon or felt like this is why people call me Sheldon sometimes. So yeah. A few more points being like Sheldon.
And I do feel like when you look into these, like, I think you're already doing this, but put into account some major attributes that you really find like, that's definitely me and that's definitely Sheldon. Maybe it's a couple points or something like that. I don't know.
Double it up.
Just throwing it out there. Double down it as we deemed last time.
Yeah, double down.
Well, speaking of trying to do no spoilers, I know we always look up guest actors. Did you happen to look up the guest actor in this episode?
I did. Actually, there's two actors, and I was kind of surprised, but found out that he will be returning. And the other one, she looked familiar, which made me think that she was probably a returning character. I didn't really know who she was, but I think that she's returning. I, again, still don't know who she is. I just saw that she will be returning.
Okay, yeah. All right, I won't say anything else. I don't want to... I'll try to keep it a mystery then.
I try to keep it, I'm like, I could look deeper, but I'm like, no, I want to keep the surprise factor going.
There you go. Well, to everyone out there, a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to shoot us an email at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And YouTube, like and subscribe. Speaking of emails, we actually got 2 new emails.
Got 2 good ones.
Very good ones. Would you like to read one of them?
I'll read the first one. Joshua from Nashville, Tennessee here. I sent y'all an email several months ago and you read it on episode number 31, The Friendship Anomaly. That was such a cool moment for me. I was so excited. I stopped working for a moment and texted my husband and my best friend. I want to say again how much I love your podcast. It has become one of my favorite shows, and it makes my love for the Big Bang Theory grow even more. I am rewatching the series as I listen to your podcast. I just finished listening to episode 39, The Vegas Renormalization, and I want to share a few thoughts with you both. First of all, I really liked the way the live watch along episode you did for the work song Nano Cluster. That was a great idea. It was fun to listen to your comments as you watched the episode. I could picture myself there with you, both watching along with you and sipping sherry. I would love more episodes like that. Secondly, Rob, I am afraid I disagree with you on Beverly being your least favorite character on the entire show. I actually love her. I find her hysterical. Sure, she can be rude and brash and cold, but I think it suits her character, and her coldness does help to explain why Leonard is the way he is. And on the rare occasion that she breaks out of her shell and behaves in an un-Beverly-like manner, she is all the more funny. Besides, Christine Baranski is just flawless. How can you not love her? As far as my favorite episode of season 2, it is so hard to choose, but I think my top 3 would be the Cooper Nowotski theorem, the bath item hypothesis, and the killer robot instability. I don't think I have a least favorite episode, LL. And my favorite deep dive was in episode 25, the Panty Pinata polarization, about the Klingon language. As a linguophile, I love studying linguistics and learning about foreign languages and cultures. I studied German and French for many years and currently learning Spanish and Hindi. Well, sorry for the long email. You guys are great. All your talk about Indian food and the Vegas renormalization has made me really hungry. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to grab some palak paneer and naan. Thank you, Joshua.
Well, so thank you, Joshua. The email, Joshua. We really appreciate it, and we're glad that you really enjoy the podcast. Keep emailing us, and we'll just keep reading it. So
I'm glad to hear about the watch along, as well, because I was so nervous that I was going to say something stupid, and everyone's going to be like, "Why are they doing this?" But the positivity makes me want to try it again sometime.
Yeah. When you come back or when one of us goes and sees each other, or we'll try to
fly across the country,
or maybe we'll try to find a way to sync up like online and do it. It was really fun.
It was fun.
Sorry, Joshua. I still stand by. I really don't like Beverly. I totally get that that's her character, and she does fit into that mold very well. So she definitely plays it very well.
She plays that part fantastically.
She's like Christine Baranowski is definitely perfect for that role, but it's hard. Like, every time I see her, I just kind of like every time I see Beverly, I'm like, oh, all right, let's see. All right.
And that's hard because when an actor plays a role so well and you're like, I hate that character, but they are so good in it. It's like hard to it's like you respect them, but like you can still respect and not like the character. I don't know. It comes up sometimes.
It's a testament for how good she is of an actress.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Cool. Well, our next email is from Rick, who has emailed us multiple times. So thanks again, Rick, for the email. He says, I'm watching the next episode, season 3, episode 4, The Pirate Solution. And something occurred to me for the first time, despite having watched this show so many times already. After Sheldon hires Raj, and Raj asks him what he's working on, Sheldon replies, I'm designing an experiment to blah, blah, dee, da, blah. Point of order, Sheldon is a theoretical physicist, not an experimental one. In fact, he looks down on EPs, like Leonard, as just one step up from a mechanical engineer, like Howard. A theoretical physicist constructs mathematical models that support their theories, then publish these things in science journals. After that, experimental physicists take that theory and they design an experiment to test that theory. After the result is in, they publish whether it's tested true or failed. And it generally takes 2 independent teams of EPs to confirm a theory. If you remember when Leonard's mother visited and she poo-pooed his performing a test that the Italians had already done. He was simply the second test physicist, and she should have known that herself. And a small developed independently, no reading of notes of the previous group. Very often, the test experiments may be all but identical, and the proving authority will come in to verify no conclusion occurred. Or a third group, or 4th, 5th, so on, will also test. And if all the results agree, they might not need to investigate. After a theory is established as proven, some scientists will replicate it from notes for their own reasons, but not to prove the theory again. Anyway, my point is this. Sheldon would never be designing an experiment. He'd He'd let plebs do that. His math is all he would use. Rick. Which, yeah, I actually did not even... That didn't even occur to me. It's like, yeah, you're right. He's not the type to design something.
It's not something I thought about it, but when it was mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I agree. That seems kind of a little far-fetched just to make things work. I mean, I'm enjoying that he brought Raj in, but at the same time, it didn't necessarily fit his character or his career or his occupation.
Yeah, but I guess it was a way to keep Raj around and to pair them together.
Yeah.
But good one, Rick. Very good.
Yeah,
I
nice
like that.
catch.
Yeah. All right. Any other housekeeping?
I think that's it.
Otherwise, let's get started with the episode. Overall thoughts?
I don't think I liked it as much as a couple previous, but it was okay. Not a lot of IQ points, but some guest stars that I liked, and something really funny that I'm going to point out later. So,
well, I loved this episode, and my notes for overall thoughts said 2 words. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I loved this episode. I thought it was hilarious. It had it kind of peeled back more about Sheldon. It introduces Bernadette. The card game, Sheldon with his what he calls eidetic memory, but we'll get into that.
We're going to get
later.
into that.
Yeah, but everything, man, this was so good. I loved it. The cringiness of the first meeting of Howard and Bernadette, just in the car at the date and everything like that.
Yes.
I normally don't like cringy things, but I'm so captivated by this one. A puppy once bit my face.
How about puppies? You like puppies? Of course it did.
Of course it did. But all right. So I noted that I'm leading this one.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right. So this is season 3, episode 5, The Creepy Candy Coating Corollary. Aired October 19th, 2009. Written by Chick Lorre, Bill Prady, and teleplay by Steve Holland. Directed, as always, by Mark Sandrowski.
Who did you say the writers were?
Oh, I had Chuck Lorre, Bill Prady, and Steve Holland. Did I mess that up? Did I copy and paste it wrong?
Lee Aronson as the teleplay. Yeah, I think it's Lee Aronson. Glad to clarify that.
I'm still scrolling. Oh, Lee Aronson. All right, sorry, everyone. Correction. Teleplay by Lee Aronson. Sorry.
Excellent.
I copied and pasted the wrong thing. Opening scene. They're playing a card game, and Penny is not loving it. She wants to ask a question, and Leonard thinks it's about the rules of the game, but in reality, she just wants to know when it actually gets fun. And then they make a great setup for how weak the enchanted bunny is. That is, unless you have the carrot of power. And it turns out they're playing a game called Mystic Warlords of Ka'ah. So, not necessarily an IQ point, maybe a partial if we're not really doing it, so it may not even count it. I looked into if this was a real game.
I did too, and I think we should count this because I have some stuff that I want to talk about it. I wanted to go back.
Just like that, it's an IQ point.
There we go.
Dunzo.
We're not going to double down on it, but it's an IQ point.
No, it at the time it was not a real game.
Yeah,
but they in 2000. Well, I guess after the episode aired, they actually created a virtual game on Facebook. But I tried playing it online, but the site is down now. But from my understanding, they actually did create it as a card game now. Like, there actually are decks of cards that you can actually purchase.
Yeah, I got that the Facebook game was by Direwolf Digital Games, and they closed it June 29th, 2012. And my understanding was, I got this from BigBangTheoryFandom.com, but leading up to Comic-Con for 2011, they did a blog with posts of mock-ups for these cards and kind of did fake advertising. And I think it was kind of to generate acclaim and people getting excited for advertising for Comic-Con. Maybe not completely, but it makes sense that after Comic-Con, it lasted another year and then closed down. But it looked fun. And like you said, you can now get unlicensed decks of them, right? I don't think they're official, but they look cool, and I think they use a lot of the same images that they used in the show, and that the blog post released when they were releasing graphic images in 2011.
Yeah.
I was curious of your thoughts on this because everyone kept comparing it to Magic the Gathering, and I can completely see why. But it didn't seem like Magic the Gathering to me. The cards kind of look like it.
I think it's a very it's similar in the sense that it's a magical realm. It's fantasy based. It's cards, but the way that they play, it was more like war or something like
That's
that.
What I was
this
thinking,
card
like
beats
war.
this card beats and everything like that. Magic the Gathering is not like that. It's almost like a role playing game or something. Not really role playing game, but in the sense of like you could still power up your characters and everything like that. You have like
kind of role playing. You're a planeswalker, master magician, a sorcerer, right?
Yeah, and then you could just play your different characters. You set up your multiple characters and you could build your army and stuff like that.
Got the impression that this game wasn't necessarily a collectible card game at first. That it was like you buy the deck, and I guess that's kind of collectible, but it's not like Magic the Gathering where you buy booster packs and try to get new cards, that they're all contained in the deck. Although I did read on BigBangTheoryFandom.com that in later episodes it's going to come back up, and that apparently the makers of the game will release expansions to it with more cards. But again, I think that does differ from Magic the Gathering, where it's not like you're buying booster packs to get new cards every single time, that there's one deck or an expansion of decks that you play with every time.
Yeah, that was the great thing about Magic the Gathering was like, what was it like? Every deck that you get, it's the 5th card. You always count to like the 5th card, and that's your rare.
Yeah, the rare. And I was talking to somebody about this too. That like, if you really wanted good rare cards, you didn't buy booster packs. You bought boxes of booster packs or boxes of starter decks, because each box like had so many rare cards, and then at least 1 or 2 extremely rare cards. And so instead of buying like booster packs here and there, if you save up and just get one box, you are sure to get something really good.
I remember in the mid 90s, an equivalent card game came out, and it was the Star Wars one. So it was basically the exact same thing as Magic the Gathering, except it was Star Wars. So my brother was super into Magic the Gathering, and I was more into the Star Wars one. So I still have all my cards. A little bit. I still have all my cards too, like somewhere.
Remember, I also played some. I believe it was BattleTech, kind of like a MechWarrior card game, and it was very similar. And I played a little bit, not too much. Vampire the Masquerade, the card game. I love the artwork from Vampire the Masquerade. I've never actually gotten into the role-playing game of Vampire the Masquerade, but the card game was beautiful. But nobody really played it, so I kind of fell out because I was like playing by myself.
The only one.
Yeah. And now
just sit in front of a mirror.
It's your turn, Ryan. Thanks, Ryan. I'm gonna get you, Ryan. Suck all your blood.
Surprise, surprise. I won.
I won, Ryan. Good game, Ryan. We should do this again. And that's when I had to go to a therapist. I was going to say, too, that Vampire the Masquerade, apparently they have a new video game coming out, or they're supposed to. But have you heard anything about it?
No,
it's been in the works for like a decade. And maybe
better be good.
A decade. Yeah, right? But I heard that like 3 or 4 years ago. Right? They had to like overhaul. They like destroyed everything and like restarted because it wasn't fun and it was outdated.
Yeah. This is still 8-bit graphics.
Totally. I think we took too long on this. Let's just call it retro.
Yeah. We just upgraded and we can play it on the N64 now.
Oh yeah. Guys, got some bad news. Whoa, no. So that's all I have about the card game, but I it looks fun to me, and I'd be interested in from the artwork I saw on the mock-up images. It looks fun, and I believe the fun text under the bunny card was don't let his looks fool you. He would kill you if he could.
I miss playing games like that so much. Like just being around like friends, bored like that. That's why I miss hanging out with you and everyone, because like you always have a good board game or a new board game, and they're always so fun. Christina hates board games. Drives me crazy.
Kelsey likes board games that you don't have to use your imagination with. So she likes Monopoly, she likes Clue, but it gets into like anything role playing. Yeah. She's like, I can't picture myself as a zombie slayer. I'm like, just play.
Yeah, I definitely like the imagination ones.
Right? Me too.
Yeah, I tried getting her into chess. That did not go well. But anyways. Well, Penny is struggling to make her next move, and Leonard just tells her to play a potion card. But then Sheldon chimes in and says that it doesn't matter, because based on what cards have been played, she's SOL. So Sheldon pretty much is card counting.
Yeah.
And we learn that Sheldon, he doesn't have a photographic memory as what Leonard says, that he has an eidetic memory.
Eidetic memory.
So next IQ point?
First of all, 1 point, not like Sheldon. My memory is not even close to photographic. In fact, it's barely a memory. It barely works at all.
Is that why you're always late? Because you forget about this?
Partially.
I text you like, oh, totally. I'm logging in now.
And who are you again, Rob?
Like, wait.
How do I know you?
How did you get this number?
Where am I? All right, so you want to start with the IQ point?
Sure, I'll take it. So I looked into what the difference is between eidetic memory and photographic memory. So Sheldon claims that calling it a photographic memory is a misnomer, that he doesn't have a photographic memory, but an eidetic memory. So I found this on betterhelp.com and simplypsychology.org. Both of these terms have been used interchangeably, but there are some differences. So first off, an eidetic memory is a form of memory used to recall images in a highly accurate way after only a short period of exposure to them. Eidetic memory is also short-term, thought only to persist for a few minutes at most. Experts believe that this form of memory is primarily utilized by children and is essentially absent among adults. Between the ages of 6 and 12 can use eidetic memory. This ability is lost over time due to the development of other methods of learning and memorization, which lessen the need to use one's visual skills. A photographic memory refers to the ability to recall visual information with incredible detail and accuracy over long periods, as though it has been imprinted on the brain like a photograph. Photographic memory denotes the ability to recall entire pages of text or numbers in detailed precision. The existence of photographic memory has been debated extensively, but there is a general consensus that it is an unproven phenomenon. Historical figures that supposedly had a photographic memory are Wolfgang Mozart and Nikola Tesla. Skepticism for eidetic memories in general exists as well, but it's even more staggering with photographic memories. When there are people that say they have a photographic memory, such as LeBron James, who can recall details of old basketball games and memorize the location of all 10 players on the court, most likely does not have a photographic memory, but memorize these details due to an intense focus and passion to their field of expertise. Some claim to possess this memory type, but often utilize mnemonic techniques to enhance recall. So in summation, the key differences: eidetic memory is short-term, photographic memory is long-term. Eidetic memory is more or less backed by science and evidence, though it's very little and very divided, whereas there is even less evidence that photographic memories are real. So based off this information, Sheldon does not have an eidetic memory. It's actually a photographic memory, because he does recall things with precision from his childhood.
Yeah, adding to that, I got my information from artofmemory.com, and they took information from different research. But my understanding was that eidetic memory is more about seeing something and then recalling what it looks like in your vision. And they made a clear point that with eidetic images and what you're recalling, the image doesn't move when you move your eyes. That it's basically like you have the photograph and it's like completely accurate and kind of burned into your vision. And they suggested that you can destroy this image basically by blinking a lot. So it's they said it wasn't exactly like an after image, but I was picturing it more like an after image, that you're still like kind of thinking of the image, but if you get distracted and blink and focus on something else, it can still go away. And like you said, kids are supposed to have it. In fact, I believe it said that part of that is before they're literate, before they're really used to reading and writing, they learn more by images as opposed to letters and words. And so there may be some correlation between observing the image and being able to reproduce it or rethink it without having to read something and picture it in their mind differently. But also on this, I did get that there's no scientific consensus, and 3 or 4 things that they point out at the bottom of this article is memory isn't a camera. Like you said, photogenic memory, photographic memory is recalling stuff with precision, usually because you're really passionate and care about something, and you've developed a way to remember stuff very easily, I guess. Eidetic imagery apparently doesn't necessarily help memory either, that it's a visual learning way, a way to learn visually, I guess, with kids, but it doesn't necessarily help remember things from years past, and mostly because it does disappear after a while. At least, again, there's a lot of debate over this, but that's kind of what people are saying. Number 3, photographic memories. People with photographic memories, or what they call photographic memories, have never actually won a memory championship. I'm not exactly sure what a memory championship is, but it kind of serves to suggest that they may have a good memory, but it's never pristine 100%. That it's as good, if not less better, than a memory of somebody who claims they don't have one. And researchers have never actually confirmed the existence of photographic memory. That, again, there's debate over this. And, this wasn't one of the last points, but there was a pretty clear theme in this article that people who say they have photographic memories may remember a lot of stuff well, but there will be errors in their memories. And they think their memories are still 100%. But if you fact check them, you will find discrepancies. And so it might still be a really good memory, but it's never going to be 100%. And so, like you said, the basketball games, remembering where players are, that's how he remembers them. But if you fact check, there's going to be questions over, was it exactly like he remembered? Was he mixing up games? Did people move sides or whatever? And I don't know. Again, scientists haven't proven either way, but it did suggest a theme that some of the photographic memory is just complete dedication to saying, yeah, that's how it was, when it probably wasn't.
So it's having a huge ego.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, nope, that's how it was. There was definitely no. Yeah, that's how it was. He was standing right there.
I remember. Completely.
I definitely am in that camp about like it doesn't really, not that it doesn't exist. I'm sure maybe somebody does have it, but at the people with really good memories, I feel like are just very passionate about that topic.
Yeah.
It's
and most likely find another topic that they don't care about, they're probably not going to memorize stuff as easily.
Oh, yeah. Like, talk to me about Star Wars, I will bring that shit up. I know things. But then you talk to me about taxes, I'm like, what?
What's a tax?
I have to pay things? What?
And for me, who's a Rob? What's a podcast?
W2?
W.
What happened to W1?
I don't even know how to spell that. I forgot.
Pretty sure it's a double V, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, I like this IQ point because I can't believe that Sheldon actually has either eidetic or photographic. I keep saying photogenic, but photographic. That
I think Sheldon is just incredibly smart. I think that's really all it is. It's like he's just an incredibly intelligent person, so he could just recall information very easily.
You ever see that? There's an episode, and probably other shows have made jokes about this, but a Married with Children, where the daughter, played by Christina Applegate, right, is on a game show because she can remember things. Like you tell her something and just it goes in there and it sticks, but she only has so much room. So as soon as she learns something else, some other random fact goes out. We've prepped her for this game show. She's gonna win, and then she accidentally learns one more thing, and something goes.
I don't remember that episode. I do love that show, though. All right, well, Penny leaves, and she's very happy about that. And Leonard takes a second to absorb in the present. He says, wow, I still can't believe she's going out with me. And Raj says, well, nobody can. and then Howard calls Leonard out on their pact. If either of them get a hot girlfriend, then they would have to have their girlfriend hook up the other guy with one of their friends. And then Leonard tries to play dumb, but damn it, Sheldon and his eidetic memory. Or should I say photographic memory. He recalls that it was June 30th, 2004, opening day of Spider-Man 2 at the AMC Pasadena. They only had red ices, no blue. And then Leonard says that you can't hold me to that deal because I never thought this would actually happen. And then Raj chimes in and gets upset. It's like, well, where was I during all this? Why wasn't I in this pact? And it's because of his tiny bladder.
Tiny bladder.
So, yeah.
So because of my tiny bladder, I don't get a hot girlfriend? Yeah.
Yeah, Raj. That's how it works. Damn.
I was kind of surprised that Howard would have waited. It's been like a month and a half or 2 months that he waited this long. Like he
felt
must
have forgot it. I mean, that's something that you don't really forget about,
right? You would think, but maybe
at the same, or maybe they didn't think that it was that serious between Penny and Leonard at this point.
And so at that point, he's like, "Okay, it's serious enough. I can bring it up." That makes sense.
It makes me wonder. I thought about Dr. Stephanie because he did seriously date Dr. Stephanie, but then again, they actually did try to hook up Howard with one of her friend with her roommate. I do remember that. So I wonder if that's when he was like, "Oh, okay." He honored the pact then.
So is it like a one-time honor, or does he have to honor it every time he gets a hot girlfriend?
I would imagine it's an ongoing thing.
It's an ongoing pact? Man, Leonard, screwed yourself over there.
Yep. Well, now we're at the university cafeteria. They're eating lunch, and Leonard asks Sheldon for a napkin, and he says no. He's on a 4-napkin system now. Lap, hands, face, and personal emergencies. But he can add a 5th napkin, a guest napkin, tomorrow. And I like that Leonard just swipes it. And Sheldon says, good luck, that's the face napkin.
What'd he do with that face napkin?
Maybe if he eats something spicy, he needs to dab a little.
Oh.
Just
like how much luck do you need with a face napkin? I mean, maybe some snot or spittle or...
Yeah. Oh. And I would need a lot more than 4. Just in general.
I just grab a huge handful.
Yeah. We'll enter Howard, and he's very excited to see if he spoke with Penny. And Leonard says that he was busy, and he's also been trying to think of the right way to bring it up, and he just doesn't want to. Let's face it, I wouldn't either. I like Leonard says, what am I supposed to say? Penny, do you have any friends you'd like to never hear from again? And Howard is wildly offended because he's a catch. He's got a good job and 3% body fat. And then Raj says that he's like a human chicken wing.
I've seen him.
But that's
a chicken wing.
But I will say that chicken wings are actually very fatty. So I think that they should have called him an unbreaded chicken strip or a pork tenderloin. Yeah, because like if you actually look at chicken wings, they're actually like not even like because they're fried, because a lot of times they're fried, but just by itself, the calorie count is actually pretty high for a chicken wing. It's dark meat and it's all skin, so it's like that's fat. So
I was thinking, it reminded me of how people criticize Miley Ray Cyrus because she wore some costume at some point, outfit that resembled chicken. Do you remember that at all? It was like to an award show
Miley
or
Cyrus
something?
did.
Yeah, and
I
I'm
do my
like,
best to not pay attention to her.
I don't mind. I thought it looked good on her, so I don't know.
Let's look this up then.
Yeah,
Miley
look up
Cyrus chicken wing.
chicken wing.
Miley Cyrus chicken costume, chicken outfit.
I was rewatching Hackers from like 1990 or whatever.
Oh, how great was that movie?
I love
would definitely not hold up, but
absolutely not at all. But Angelina Jolie is in it, and I swear she looks like Miley Ray Cyrus.
Well, I'm not seeing anything specifically shouting out chicken
outfit.
Or is it the one on BuzzFeed? The body shaming that she's basically wearing like a bikini.
It's like a bikini,
like
but
a nude color bikini.
Yeah.
What was she body shamed for?
I think being thin and wearing the bikini.
That's it?
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous.
Man, women got it rough, man. They can be, if they're skinny, they're too skinny. If they're overweight, then they're fat. Then it's like, if they're curvy, then they're fat. It's like, man, they just can't win.
Here's a link. I feel lucky that I get to have a dad bod, and that's all
Yeah.
I'm okay. Dad bod.
All right, there's the chat. All right. Miley Cyrus versus the raw chicken.
Versus that's rough.
So mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not a woman, and I'm glad that I'm not having a daughter.
I'm glad I'm not Howard. Because when he said chicken wing, like, that's what I was thinking of. I'm like, does he look like Miley Ray Cyrus somehow? Like, I don't know. The information didn't add up in my head.
Yeah, it's nice being a guy. You could still be kind of fat like me. Like, I got my beer gut, but I have like a little bit of bulk, so Christina loves it. I'm like, sweet.
It's like you need a little padding for people to lay on, right? So I'm like, I'm lucky I can have a little bit of padding.
Well, Leonard breaks down and he says he'll ask Penny. Howard chimes in that he wants a hot, tall girlfriend so his children can ride Space Mountain before they turn 20. Raj changes the subject, asking Sheldon to guess what he heard today. And I just love Sheldon's response. I'm going to read the whole thing. It's that
go for
good.
It. Because
read the whole thing.
is technically 1 point for me being like Raj. Not like Sheldon. So there's a good reason
you have
for this.
Because you have ugly sweater vests?
Well, yeah. I mean, God. Yeah, now that you mention it.
Oh, that's 2 points towards Raj.
2 points.
He says, I'd imagine you heard any number of things today. When you arrived at work, you undoubtedly heard, hello, Raj. How are you, Raj? Given that you're wearing a new sweater vest, you may have heard new sweater vest, and possibly, though far less likely, nice sweater vest. So rude, I love it.
So my thing is, I often say, oh, guess what I heard? Guess who I saw? Guess what movie's on? Or something like that. And I don't know why I do that, but it's just kind of my way of chiming in. And I expect people to say, I don't know what. But quite a few times I get people who say, I'm not in the mood, just tell me, Ryan. And it's not one person. I've had like 5-6 different people say this to me, or they say, what is it, Ryan? I'm like, I'm just trying to make conversation. But like they get kind of disgruntled. And so I'm totally fine.
Or are you just an attention whore? Look, Ryan wants attention again.
God damn it, Ryan.
Everyone turn and look at Ryan.
What did you see today, Ryan?
Saw a dog.
I saw a dog.
The end.
That's all I wanted you to know.
I saw a puppy.
It was a happy
dog.
dog.
In the face.
In my face.
I feel like you and I are wilder when we don't drink.
Sometimes.
I was actually just thinking about the other day, like, I like to not drink during these now, but now that I'm noticing that I feel like I'm a little wilder. It must be the chocolate. Maybe we should have a drink. It'll calm us down a little bit more.
It's gonna normalize the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting too weird here.
Yeah.
Take a shot.
Well, it turns out that there was a Mystic Warlords of Ka'ah tournament at the comic book store on Saturday, and first prize is $500. But Sheldon has no interest. The game is too easy for him, and he has no need for money. And there's no talking any sense in the Sheldon. Couldn't even get him to give up a napkin. Now we switch to the next scene where Leonard and Penny are in bed, and I must say the chemistry is getting even better with them, especially with the help of Google.
That made me laugh. It's like, I looked that up on Google.
You're a genius. Oh, not really. I looked it up on Google. And Leonard starts the conversation of Penny hooking up Howard with one of her friends. And they start talking pinky swears, and turns out that Penny had a pact with her friend Rosie in the first grade to marry Bert and Ernie. But apparently they both wanted Ernie. So they didn't speak again until middle school, because the heart wants what the heart wants.
So I did I'm going to call it an IQ point.
Ooh.
You can call it what you want, but I'm going to say IQ point. And this is from a Time magazine, September 2018. It was published online. And apparently a writer from Sesame Street did an interview with Queerty. Now they're media, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what it is. But I remember hearing about this and it became a big deal. And I also was important because it kind of solidified my thoughts throughout life that Bert and Ernie were two guys in their adulthood, going into their adulthood, living together. And you have the people saying, they're just roommates, they're just friends. And like, I don't know. I think they're more than friends, especially if you read or hear the version of the story Gift of the Magi?
I know of it, but I know nothing of it.
It's like a man and a woman want to get each other gifts, and he gets her a comb, and she gets him like a pocket watch strap or something, but he sells his pocket watch, and she sells her hair, so they can get each other these gifts in the end. There's a episode or something with Bert and Ernie where they do this, but Bert wants to get Ernie a soap dish for his rubber ducky, and I believe Ernie wants to get Bert a something for his stamp collection. I could be wrong on that. It's been a long time, but it's basically Gift of the Magi. I'm like, you don't say Gift of the Magi if they're not seeing each other, because in every other rendition, that is a romantic story that they give up something that is pride and true and personal to them so that they can give somebody they care about romantically and immensely that special gift, and especially if they're living together. So I always thought they were gay. Kind of like, although I didn't realize this till later when they mentioned it, but Frog and Toad, did you ever read those books?
Don't think so.
It's a story about a frog and a toad. They would ride bikes
up,
together.
It was just Berenstain Bears and Boxcar Children. That was pretty much in my library.
You should check out some Frog and Toad. It is and they're stylish too. They wear like nice clothes.
Frog and Toad? Would that be good for Hunter? Probably when he's a little older?
I would say so.
Okay. Typing that up.
Yeah.
But speaking of gifts, did you get the thing I sent you?
No, not yet. I got an email. Something's coming from you, but that's it.
Yep. Oh, nice. Good.
Thank you. It'll be a surprise.
On the way. Yeah. Yeah. Ryan, our good old Ryan, is turning 40 soon. Don't know if you want me to tell the whole world that.
Not 40. Not again.
Freaky 40.
Freaky 40. 40's the new.
Dirty 30. Freaky 40.
40's just the new 15.
I'm looking forward to my 40s. It's only a couple years away. Looking forward to it. Loved my 30s. Hated my 20s.
Yeah, I don't think I liked my 20s that much. I did some fun stuff, but my 30s have basically been a blast. Besides COVID
Yeah.
eating up a couple years, I mean,
that was part of the fun.
Yeah.
I don't have to see anybody. This is amazing.
I didn't have to go out.
Yeah. I don't have to make up a story.
Got to play cards with Ryan in the mirror again.
It's the only thing on the agenda today.
How you doing, Ryan? Ready to play, Ryan? Alright, so anyways,
yeah, I do remember hearing that story, and it was a really big deal. Some people loved it, some people hated it.
Mark Saltzman, who wrote for Sesame Street from 1981 to 1990, discussed in this interview with Queerty, claiming that he always wrote them as gay. He didn't do it with an agenda, just like in the back of his mind, like, oh, this is a gay couple. And also, to back that up, him and his partner Ernie have often been called Bert and Ernie. So it's almost like his life was influencing the characters. So, you get that writer writing them. It's saying, I wrote them not with an agenda, but yeah, that was influence. And me and my partner are a lot like them, and I'm gay. So yeah, it makes sense that they're gay. And then Sesame Street came forward and said, they're puppets. They can't have sexual orientations. They are just roommates. And as much as that makes sense, they are puppets, I would have to say, in the realm of puppet logic, how do they get created if they don't have sexual orientations? Somewhere, one Muppet had a sex with another Muppet, and then you got Bert. Vice versa on the other end, that's how you got Ernie, and that's a sexual orientation. Although, I mean, if you're going to tell kids they were sewn up in a factory somewhere by other kids, you can tell kids that, but I don't think that's the logic Sesame Street's going for.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting topic if Hunter ever brings that up.
Muppet logic.
I've never considered Muppet logic. Now I need to add that along with Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. What's better, explain sex or sweatshops? I don't know.
Parenting's hard.
Parenting's hard. So yeah, that was my IQ point, that I've always kind of assumed they were gay. This didn't come up till 2018, so when she was in elementary school, it was way before this even came up, so I could see her and her friend thinking that they were two marriageable bachelors. So, but anyways, that was my IQ point for that.
Nice. Well, Leonard brings up the pact with Howard, and she tells him to tread lightly.
That made me laugh. She kind of backs away too.
Was like, what are you getting at? Then he clarifies that it's just a setup with a friend, but it doesn't have to be a good friend. She's very resistant, but Leonard tries to convince her that he's a really nice guy deep down inside. And Penny just says, well, the problem isn't what's on the inside, it's the creepy candy coating, which is the name of the episode. Then he tells her to just think about it, and I love this. Penny just kind of like, her mind just kind of wanders, and the great thing about Ernie was that he never asked for anything. He just gave.
He just gave.
Well, now we're back at the comic. Oh, sorry.
I'm going to give a point for being like Howard here. And it's a single point, but it counts for 2 parts. Because I related him to so much for having I would say it's more of an intense coding, but creepy coding.
Candy coding.
Candy coding. Jokes.
Yeah, with a beard like that, yeah. You do.
Right? This is good. This is good coding. Often don't land well and can offend. For the longest time, like, friends would not set me up with people because they're like, we like you, but we know you. And so I was kind of like, I think I have this front and can be kind of abrasive or say things that are offensive, but they're funny, right? Maybe not. Maybe they're just creepy. But
only to you.
Only to me. Well, I'm laughing.
Only to you and the man in the mirror.
Yeah. He's the one whispering them to me. Ryan, you gotta say this. No, Ryan, don't make me do it.
Don't do it. No.
So yeah, between conversation with her in the car, I'm like, yeah, that's at least 1 point towards Howard.
All right, well, now we're at the comic book store and the return of Stuart, and he is a great friend and store owner because he knows that Sheldon likes Green Lantern and offers to set him aside one of the new figurines. And of course, Sheldon makes a big deal out of it because he wanted to stumble upon it organically. Then Raj comes up and asks Stuart if the Will Wheaton in the tournament is the Will Wheaton from Star Trek. And sure enough, it is. And Sheldon is shocked. And I love the Stuart sass. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did I rob you of the opportunity to stumble onto that yourself?"
I love his deadpan expressions with that too. He's like, "Oh, did I ruin that for you?"
And now we learn that Sheldon idolized Will Wheaton, since his character, Wesley Crusher, had an eidetic memory just like him. And Raj tries to use this as a means to get Sheldon to partner with him in the tournament. All while Sheldon recounts the story of traveling in 1995 to a sci-fi convention in Jackson, Mississippi to meet Will Wheaton, only to be greatly disappointed that he didn't show up. So they're referring to the 4th annual Dixie Trek Convention, which they don't call it now, they call it then, or later on. But from at that point, there was an eternal hatred there for Will Wheaton. And we also learned that Will Wheaton is ranked number 6 on Sheldon's all-time enemies list, right between director Joel Schumacher, who nearly destroyed the Batman movie franchise, and Billy Sparks, who lived down the street and put dog poop on the handles of his bicycle. I would definitely put Billy Sparks up higher.
Yeah, I think so too. Although
It's fucked up.
I'm giving myself a point of being like Sheldon here.
Ooh, you have an eternal enemies list?
I do. Well, at least one person on it, and it's like completely.
Ooh.
Okay, it's gonna be story time.
All right.
Enemy with Will Wheaton, and it's Wolfgang Puck.
He's your eternal enemy?
Yeah, I am so mad at him.
That's not what I expected.
So Wolfgang Puck is a very, very famous cook, right? Chef. And
Yes.
if people don't know, and it was my birthday 11 years ago on this very night. It was not this very night. But,
and the photographic memory.
And I was living in Dallas at the time and wanted to have dinner. Dallas it's not like a Space Needle, but it's kind of like a Space Needle, and it's got a ball on top. And they have a restaurant in there. And I'm like, I really want to do that. That looks really fun. And so I made reservations, and it was extra expensive. It was like twice as much or something because my birthday falls on Chinese New Year. And so they were doing something special. Wolfgang Puck, I think it's a Wolfgang Puck restaurant up there, or at least it was. But they were doing a Chinese fusion menu with several dishes and wine pairings in celebration of the Chinese New Year. And also part of it was the promise of getting to meet and talk to Wolfgang Puck. And I'm like, I want to meet this guy. He's famous, and I'm looking forward to this. It's a birthday dinner. I want to tell him it's my birthday and have a good time. And we get up there. Well, first of all, the date was we were better as friends, I guess. So that didn't work out. So romantically, it was kind of like not as good of a date. But I remember...
And that's obviously Wolfgang's fault.
It was.
Obviously.
I blame him. He should have done better. If his food had been better.
Yeah, he would have got me out of the friend zone.
Yeah. Wolfgang. Cock blocker.
Yeah.
So I remember, and this is my photographic memory, eating dinner and him like talking to the table like right across from us or a little bit a ways. And I look at him kind of like, excited, like, oh, he's going to come and talk to us. And he made eye contact with me. Eye contact. Turned around and just walked away. Never saw him again. And
but he was supposed to.
He owes me a conversation.
And you're just going to look him dead in the eye and said, you cock-blocked me.
You cock-blocked me. You could come over, had a conversation, and things could have gone a lot better that evening.
Yeah, I could have had a much happier birthday.
So every time I see his name, I go, that guy owes me a conversation. But yeah, I don't know why.
Wait, so that was part of the dinner? That was part of you purchased like a package that said that he was supposed to meet you.
Yeah, personal
right?
thing. This Chinese fusion special dinner, meet and talk to Wolfgang Puck, and he was walking around talking to everybody. He just looked at me and walked away.
You know, he saw the creepy candy coating.
Probably. But that's not what I paid for. I paid for a conversation. Yeah. Talk to me.
Creepy or not, you owe me.
You owe me. Now smile.
And now I'm just gonna get. I'm gonna get even creepier now.
So, anyways, I understand how Sheldon feels. It's not necessarily logical or reasonable, but it happens.
It's a pretty big burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know my wife Christina, that's something that she would definitely go Karen on them. I need to talk to your manager now. He was supposed to be here. I don't even care if I meet him anymore, but he will come out here.
Let me talk to your manager, because I was expecting to talk to him.
Yeah. Hello. Well, I did a little bit of research on the Dixie Trek Convention.
Ooh.
Did you do anything on this?
No, I looked a little bit into Will Wheaton, just because I feel like guest star talking about him, but he doesn't actually show up until a little bit later, so we can hold off on that.
All right, cool. Well, I was just wondering if the Dixie Trek Convention was real, because it's like, that's a fun name for a Star Wars convention.
Yeah.
Star Trek. My mind
Trek.
is always on Star Wars. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, Star Trek fans.
Sorry.
But the Dixie Trek Convention is a real thing. I found this on fanlore.com and atlantafantasyfair.blogspot.com. So, yes, it's a real convention, and it technically started in 1980 as the Emory Trek, and it was hosted in Emory University in Georgia, and it was affiliated with DragonCon. It went by the name Emory Trek for 4 years, and later changed its name to Dixie Trek in April of 1984. And this event was always hosted in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's an error that they were claiming that it was in Mississippi. Also, based on the limited information out there, the final Dixie Trek Convention was in 1994, not 1995. So there was no 95 Dixie Trek.
Oh.
Many things wrong with the writing of this one.
Or maybe it was just Sheldon's photographic memory getting it wrong.
Well. And the conventions in Atlanta, known as the Atlanta Fantasy Fair, did extend to 1995, but it wasn't called the Dixie Trek. And I think it changed the name to Dixie Trek. I tried looking really hard of why they changed it to Dixie Trek, but it was because I think there was someone's name who kind of put it together. His last name was Dixie.
Oh.
And I forgot to write his name down. I think I was reading an article and I passed by it and I just couldn't find it again. I was like, where? I swear I saw that.
This existed 10 seconds ago.
Damn my eidetic memory. Or lack thereof. But that's what I found on the Dixie Trek.
Interesting. I assumed it was made up, but apparently real, but not that particular year.
No. And not in that state.
Not in that state.
All right. Well, now we're at Leonard's car, and Leonard is driving Penny and Howard to pick up his date. And Howard is super stoked, very excited, already thinking this blind date is the future mother of his children. And then he asks if if Penny mentioned his body fat. And she says, nope, that'll just be a nice surprise. But she did tell her that he's an aerospace engineer and speaks 5 languages. Not 6, because Klingon does not count. And as our emailer Joshua has mentioned, our old IQ point, we actually did a deep dive into the Klingon language on Season 2, Episode 7, The Penny Pinata Polarization. So feel free to check that out.
It's worth it.
Oh, yeah. It was a really good one. Then she jokes about his unhealthy attachment to his mom. Just kidding. That'll just be a nice surprise for her. And now we cut to the tournament, where Sheldon and Raj are just destroying their opponents. But Sheldon is just completely vacant, just dreaming of Wheaton.
Wheaton.
And Raj is just getting cocky about all the victories and everything. And then they look at the schedule, and if Will and Stewart win their next one, and then if Sheldon and Raj beat Lonely Larry and Captain Sweatpants, they'll take on Will and Stewart in the championship.
Captain Sweatpants has been in a different episode too, right? This is
yeah.
Okay,
he's been he's been in the background here and there, but I think like in terms of like naming him or dropping his name, it's only been like a couple of times. And then Sheldon is just being very dramatic, and Raj is like, "Dude, stop! It's lame." And then Sheldon's like, "Silence." Then Raj mentions that he keeps quoting Wrath of Khan, but Will was in a completely different show.
The Next Generation,
different set of characters.
Like years and years later, so.
Yeah. But I looked up how many quotes there actually are from Wrath of Khan in here. Not being the big Star Trek fan, I couldn't identify them, so sorry everyone, I had to look it up. I wasn't going to call this an IQ point, but there are 5 references to Wrath of Khan. So the first one was, he tasks me, and I shall have him. Number 2, from hell's heart I stab at thee. And that's also in Moby Dick. So I actually thought he was doing a Moby Dick quote. But it turns out he was doing Wrath of Khan.
Well, that's fair. I was thinking the first one, he tasks me, in Gladiator, Joaquin Phoenix goes, he vexes me. I am terribly vexed. And that's how I learned the word vexed. So it's similarities.
I do like the word vex.
Vex.
I actually learned that word from they say in Suicide Squad, but that's not where it was actually Destiny. The Vex.
Vex. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. And then number 3, I have chased you round the moons of Nibia and round the Antares maelstrom and around perdition's flames. Number 4, it's going to be in Klingon, and then the translation after. Porta blur jo blue derdre quagnane. The English version of this Klingon proverb is, revenge is the dish best served cold. And then Sheldon's cry of Wheaton at the very end.
That's the one that I recognize the most.
Yeah.
It's usually
And then the whole camera zooming out. Yeah. But those were all the references to Wrath of Khan. So
I didn't realize that when he said the Klingon revenge is the best dish best served cold, I thought he was just speaking Klingon, but that is a direct quote from the movie too.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, cool. According to what I looked up. Sorry, I didn't actually watch the movie in preparation for this. Oh, we just lost a lot of subscribers right there.
I think we should do watch-alongs with the Star Trek movies.
I'm down. Yeah, we'll have to do a movie night and then just kind of synchronize. But I feel like there actually is an app where we could link up a movie and just join a room and just play it at the same time.
Like a party watch or something?
Yeah. They do have those. So we'll have to look into that. So, everyone, should we do Star Trek? Should we start at movie 1 and move along?
It's like a podcast spinoff. Rob and Ryan Star Trek. Trek
We
the
kind of
Stars.
we kind of talked about doing a spinoff or doing some bonus episodes.
Yeah.
So let us know. What do you want us to do bonus episodes of?
We can make it happen. I mean, we're in charge of this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, actually, the boss is upstairs with the kid.
Oh, no.
The real boss. I think she'll let me if I put in a request.
Maybe we could get some emails saying, please let him.
Yeah. Request denied. Watch your child.
Request denied. Get back to work.
Well, now we're back at the car and we meet Bernadette. So, Bernadette is played by Melissa Rauch. And from my understanding, based on her IMDb, this was actually the first time I've ever seen her as an actress. And based on her IMDb, it seems like this was her breakthrough gig. Because up until this point, she kind of just did a few TV shows here and there, multiple episodes of the same show, but that was really it. Most recently, she's in the new show Night Court, which is I don't know if it's a remake, or if it's just like
I think it's a reboot because I think she plays the daughter of the judge from the original. So it's kind of like a continuation,
because I've seen him like pop in because I know the actor, and I was like, oh wait, that's the original actor. Blah, blah, blah. So I wasn't sure, and then she's done a ton of voice acting. She has voiced Harley Quinn in a Batman animated movie. And then shout out to her for her roles in The Office and True Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you there yet?
I don't think I've seen her yet.
Where Office update? Where are you?
I think I'm like halfway through season 3. The last month has been kind of hectic, so I haven't
I was gonna say, weren't you just there?
Yeah, I haven't really gone any further in the last month. I've been kind of busy with the holidays.
With the holidays and yeah.
I did watch some movies. Have you seen Saltburn?
No, but I see it being blasted all over my Prime.
I think it was a fun movie. It was a fun romp through English mansions. Yeah.
The last
I'll leave it at that.
I'm trying to watch. I could really only watch movies when I'm on the treadmill, and it's hard for me to watch dramas and everything like that on the treadmill when I'm trying to like jog. So I've been trying to stick with action things. Mm-hmm. So I actually just watched Dungeons and Dragons.
How is that? It looks good.
Fucking fantastic. Holy shit. It was so good. Yeah. I recommend that for everyone. It was so good. It was actually really funny too.
I want to see it. It's been on my list. I just keep forgetting about it. But it's streaming, so I should be able to get to it.
Yeah, it's on Prime right now. So but all right. So now, first encounter with Bernadette is cringy cringe. Is what I wrote down. It wasn't like, but it was a fun kind of cringe. It was like, oh my god.
It wasn't too bad. It was just fun. No. Yeah. Yeah. And Howard plays it off well. He's like, you like magic? No. Okay.
Okay then. Yeah.
I made an LOL that she is
sorry.
When he goes, do you like role playing? And she goes, in the bedroom or D&D? And he says, I said it before he even did. I go, either. And he goes, either. Yeah. And she just goes, no.
Yeah. I know, there was so much hope in that moment.
Either.
Crushed. Well, she is a grad student studying microbiology. And you could study me because I'm a small living organism. It was a joke. Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night for them. Well, now we're back at the tournament, and Sheldon counts the cards to predict their victory. Sorry. Sheldon is counting the cards to predict his victory, and now he wants Wheaton. And he creepily stares at him and speaks to him in Klingon. Revenge is a dish best served cold, as we mentioned from Wrath of Khan. And Whedon is like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
I like
And
the fact that he asks what's wrong with this guy, but he also knew what he said in Klingon. So it's like a pot, kettle, we're both the same color type thing, right?
Yeah. Yep. Did you want to talk about?
Yeah, time. Yeah, Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't really know him from Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'm sure I probably saw him in a couple episodes back in the day, but don't remember him from that. What I know him from is Stand By Me in 1986. If you haven't seen that movie, it is fantastic. It stars Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix's brother, right? Kiefer Sutherland, and some other people. I forget their names, but they are great.
It's one of the Coreys, Corey Feldman.
I think so. And I always forget his name, but the guy from Sliders, who's married to
Jerry Connolly.
Is that his name? Is he married to
O'Connell? Jerry O'Connell.
Rebecca
Romaine. She was Stamos.
She was Stamos, but not Rebecca Romaine, right? It's just Rebecca Romaine now. But they've been married like a long time.
Jerry O'Connell. Yep. Yep. I remember him from Sliders. Love Sliders.
Right? That was a great show too.
Yeah.
So that and technically John Cusack. John Cusack is in it for a brief moment too. When he's really young, he plays Will Wheaton's older brother who's passed away, and it's just a fantastic movie, which is based on a Stephen King story called The Body. And I just read the other day that who's the director? It's also a director that you would never guess either. Rob Reiner is the director.
Oh shit!
Right? It's surprising. But I've heard that apparently River Phoenix was playing the guitar on set, and Kiefer Sutherland was helping him learn to play a little bit, and he started playing Stand By Me. And Rob Reiner walked by and said, I haven't heard that song in years and years. And like a week later, the movie was renamed Stand By Me. So that's kind of the tall tale of why it got called Stand By Me, even though the original was The Body. And yeah. So he was also in a movie called Toy Soldiers from the early 90s, which is about a boys' school that's invaded by soldiers, and the boys kind of have to fight back. And I don't know why it's always stuck out of my memory, but the reason I bring it up is Sean Astin is in it too, who played Sam Gamgee and Sam Wise. Thank you. And that's also apparently I'm going to Emerald City Comic Con this year. And
no way.
Apparently Elijah Wood and Sam Astin are going to be there.
Sean Astin.
Sorry. Yeah, messing that up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I might actually pay for a photograph.
That's like one of the bigger Comic Cons too.
Right? Yeah.
You gonna dress up?
I'm thinking about it, but I'm terrible at dressing up, and I don't know what I would be. And
be a wizard with a beard like that.
Ooh. I was thinking I have my the voice actors from Adventure Time, the guy who plays Finn and the guy who plays Jake, who also plays Bender on Futurama, are going to be there. And so I was thinking of dressing up as the Ice King because I have a Halloween costume from a while ago of the Ice King, and I have his little penguin minion. I'm like,
nice.
See that? Now I have the beard. Make it happen, Ryan.
Yeah, do it.
So, anyways,
who are you going with? You going with
Kelsey.
the group? Nice.
Kelsey and some of her friends from work. I should probably ask more people, but she actually pushed me into it because I was like, I don't know. But an author she likes is going to be there. There's this new book series called Fourth Wing. Have you heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of getting speed and momentum to be the next Harry Potter. Maybe not that big, but it's on the same level as like Twilight, and it's the second book is just released and the third book's coming out in like a year or something. But it's a girl who's in like dragon school learning to ride dragons, and there's magic and stuff. It's a fun book.
Oh, cool.
So the author's going to be there, and Kelsey really wants to get an autograph. So she's like, "We're going to this. You're going to figure out a way to enjoy it." I go, "Okay."
Oh man, I've only been to one Comic-Con before. It wasn't even a Comic-Con. It was a Chicago one. I think it was called something else, but it was pretty big. And we went because my friend Ashley, her one of her obsessions is supernatural, and they were there.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I just happened to be there in Chicago because I was doing a Tough Mudder. So I was staying with her, and she's like, "Buy tickets." I was like, "Okay."
Why not?
So we went. We had some fun. Yeah, it was good. But yeah, it was fucking like Emerald City is going to be like dwarf that one.
I'm kind of excited. I don't know. I'm excited.
Who's headlining it this year? Who's like?
I don't know.
Let's see, Comic-Con. Who's going to be there? Oh shit, Rufio's going to be there.
Oh yeah, Rufio. I was trying to explain how big that of a deal that was to Kelsey, and she's like, "I've never seen Hook." I'm like, "What?"
Fuck off. Get out. She needs to be in the movie night right now.
Yeah.
May Whitman. Is that Maybe? No, it's not Maybe. It's Anne. Wait, is that? Yeah, Good Girls. Scott Pilgrim. May Whitman. I still remember her from Arrested Development, where she was Anne, where they call her Bland.
Oh. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She's great.
There's somebody else I knew too, but I can't remember who it was.
Yep, there's Elijah Wood, Sean Astin.
So a couple other things too with Will Wheaton. He also played, and I think this is where I first really got to know him, Fox in The Guild. Did you ever watch The Guild?
Was The Guild the wasn't that the short it started off as like internet shorts.
Yeah.
With Felicity Day?
Felicia Day?
Felicia
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't watch all of it, but from what I did see, it was really good.
Will Wheaton kind of plays the creepy guy who also becomes kind of like a romance interest, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it was enjoyable. And then I learned that he was Will Wheaton. I'm like, I get it now. But he also narrated the audiobooks for Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. If anybody wants to check those out, they are worth reading or listening to. I go with Will Wheaton's narration. And last,
we were talking about that. I just listened to that a little while ago.
I still need to listen to the second one. I don't know why it's passed me up, but the first one's great.
I listened to the second one. It's not as good as the first one, but it was still really good.
Certainly. So also, not quite an IQ point, but the shirt he is wearing in this episode is the fruit fucker from Penny Arcade. So if anybody reads Penny Arcade, years ago, he's kind of a side character that's kind of been dated and fell behind. But it's a blender juicer contraption that is a robot that comes to life and uses his juice port to get juice out of fruits. And then he pours juice out of himself. So if you look at the little icon, you can see what's sticking out of his crotch area. And that is where the juice comes out. And he tells people to drink his juice, basically. Again, named Fruit Fucker. And for this episode, I have specially, you can't see this if you're listening, but if you see YouTube, my Penny Arcade shirt with Fruit Fucker fucking a city. So,
oh, shit.
Yeah. I think this shirt dates the episode, though. I got this like in the mid 2000s, so 2005, 6 or something. But anyways, a little celebration.
Good catch.
I'm like, I know that shirt. That's the Fruit Fucker. All right, so that's what I had to say about Will Wheaton, and I just wanted to point out my shirt because, wow.
All right. Well, now we're back at the restaurant, and Howard is still desperately trying to find a connection with Bernadette. Computers? No. Puppies? Where do you stand on puppies? Nope, because a puppy bit her on the face.
How's that even happen?
Oh my god.
He bit me on the face.
It kind of reminds me of this whole thing reminds me of Wings, when the main character and like the sister-in-law are hooking up, but then they're realizing that like, well, we're not supposed to be hooking up because we're technically family and stuff like that. So they're looking for any sort of reason to like find a connection and everything. And then I remember one of them, the girl was like, water. Everybody likes water. He's like, no, water tastes funny.
I remember
it really reminds me of that
relationship because they're during the main wedding. Helen and Brian, or Helen and Joe, are getting married, right? And then Brian and the sister are hooking up, and they hook up in like a laundry cabinet or something. And as they're going in, she's like, "What's wrong with us?" And he goes, "We're sick." We're sick. I love that show.
Yeah. Well, Leonard says, well, how about that? Einstein was wrong. And Penny's like, huh? And Leonard says, approaching the speed of light doesn't slow down time. Approaching them does. And this goes into a failed IQ point.
Yeah, I gave up on this one. It was such a brief line, like,
I watched so many videos, I read so many articles, and I just cannot understand it. I understand the core concept. So basically it's all part of Einstein's theory of relativity, that the faster you go, the time slows. So essentially, if you actually do hit the speed of light, you will actually freeze time. So when they were trying to explain how it works and how time is relative except the speed of light is the only thing that isn't relative, that's kind of where I'm like losing it. I'm like, I don't get this. I cannot comprehend this. So
and in theory, if you go faster than light, you can go back in time in theory, except physical elements can't turn into light, or I don't know. It's
yeah. So I'm going to say failed IQ point. Sorry, if anybody was hoping that we would talk about time dilation, sorry, you're going to have to YouTube it.
And if you can explain it to us, please email us. I want to know. Actually, Rob and Ryan, it's really easy.
You creepy dumb fucks.
You creepy dumb sons of bitches.
Well, anyways. Okay, now Howard's mom calls, and Howard ignores the call because he's torn, because he could pick up because she might be dying, and wouldn't want to miss that. But on the other hand, if he lets it go to voicemail, he could relive it over and over again. Howard and Bernadette finally find their common denominator: overbearing mothers. So Bernadette says, "Oh, I know how you feel. My mother makes me crazy." And then they kind of have like this little battle off of like who's crazier. So Bernadette says, well, does your mother call you every day at work to see if you've had a healthy lunch? Howard says, well, she calls me to make sure I had a healthy bowel movement. And then Bernadette tries to one-up him that her mother lays out her clothes in the morning like you're 9 years old. And Howard gets excited and is like, you live with your mother? And she's like, nope. That's the sad part.
So her mom comes into her house every night.
Was that what you're talking about? That was the funny part?
Yeah. You live with your mother? Nope.
Well, Howard's mom made him wear rubber gloves to kindergarten so he wouldn't pick up diseases. And Bernadette says that she couldn't ride a bicycle because her mother was afraid she'd hit a bump and lose her virginity. And he's like, did you? It's like, nope, it was a Camry. And Howard apparently lost his to a Corolla. Well, now he's invested in her, and he asked her to go to Shabbat dinner with him because a Catholic girl like her will give his mom the brain aneurysm that he's been hoping for. And she agrees as long as he goes to Sunday dinner at her house wearing a yarmulke. So Penny for the win, matchmaker of the year.
Am I a matchmaker or what?
Yeah,
she's great.
Now back to the comic book store. It is a head-to-head battle: Sheldon versus Will, and Sheldon has him. And In his hubris, Sheldon recants the story he told earlier to Will. And I just love the expression on Will's face at the end. He's like so confused. What? And then twist. Turns out that Will didn't show up because his grandma died. And he seems like a nice guy, apologizes to Sheldon for disappointing him. They bond over grandmas and, Mimas and Nanas. And then Will accepts defeats and plays the potion of Xancor. But Sheldon hesitates. He can't do it. He can't. Because he came here to defeat Will Wheaton, the man who destroyed his dreams. But he can't defeat Will Wheaton, the man who loved his Mima. He plays the enchanted bunny. And then, gasp. Will takes the win, and we learn that his Nana is alive and well. That was so fucked up. I was like, oh my god. At this point, I didn't know Will Wheaton, but he was even on my shit list at the end of this episode.
I love Stuart getting up and saying, that was fun.
As diplomatic as possible.
Come on, Stewie, let's go spend that money. That was fun.
Damn it, Will. You don't need 500. Then the camera zooms out from Sheldon above the planet as he's screaming, we're done.
For me, Wolfgang!
And that's how it ends. And that's the end.
It was a good episode.
We did it.
Yeah.
Did I change your mind on that? You said it was just an okay episode.
You made me like it more. I think it's just that the last couple have been... especially like the last one, I remember just being over the top fantastic, right? So, yeah, this one...
it's going to get better.
It's going to get better.
Oh,
this
man.
was a good one. It's just, it had a lot to live up to. So it's still up there. It's just, yeah. But yeah, going over it again, you did change my mind that it was funnier than I was giving it credit for. And yeah.
Well, it's still not the best episode of the season, though.
Ooh.
So... mull on that. Well, now we have the vanity card. So I actually took a screenshot of this one now that we're going to start doing this again. So this is another long one. Fuck.
I completely forgot about this.
Hydrate. Well, it's on my mind now because of the one fan. We have a very loyal fan that listens to us every time. So I will honor it for her.
We can cater to that. Yeah.
Yep. So, Chuck Lorre Productions number 263. So, this is a conversation between Chuck and the audience. So, when I say me, it's Chuck, and you is you. Me. I believe that watching tonight's show might constitute a spiritual experience. You. That's a pretty bold statement. How do you figure? Me. Glad you ask. Since the concept of past and future is entirely man-made, ask any other living creature about past and future, and all you'll get is a dumb, non-comprehending stare. Then it follows that if there is a God, a unifying spirit of the universe, be it intelligent or simply a pervasively unifying quantum particle sort of deal, then the present, the constantly unfolding now, is the only possible place it can exist. Which brings me to my bold assertion. If you laughed at any time during tonight's show, you had to be paying attention. If you were paying attention, it means you were, for that moment, in the now. The same place as the previously mentioned pervasive unifying quantum particle we, as a species, enjoy worshipping and committing genocide over. Ergo, you had a spiritual experience. You. Assuming you're right, so what? Me. So what? This is huge. If a simple sitcom can lead to communion with the eternal, then I can make a case for my work having religious significance. Next step, the Church of Chuckology and a tax break. Oh, maybe even a sleepy little burg in Florida I can call my own. So that is like the epitome of a vanity card.
And that's how the cult of Chuck Lorre started, huh?
Yep. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Well, let's count up some IQ points.
Okay.
Only 4.
Oh. Neck and neck, 77 to 77.
Whoa. Well.
How the tables have turned.
All right. Well, anything else to mention or?
I think that's all I have for tonight.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Theoretical Nonsense Pod. Email us at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com, and we will read your email. And we will see you next time when we talk Season 3, Episode 6, The Cornhusker Vortex. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
This was Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required. Our intro and outro music is by Alex Grohl. Thanks for listening. Look, Ryan wants attention again.